Welcome on board, chosen one. Looks like you finally stepped into the room they swore you'd never reach, and the funniest part is how quiet it got the second you arrived. It's always the same pattern. They talk big until the universe starts backing you. Then suddenly everyone forgets how loud they were. Remember when they said you were doing too much? When they laughed at your choices? When they acted like your courage was some kind of joke? Now look at them. The same people who rolled their eyes are the ones slowing down their steps, trying to understand how you survived everything they thought would break you. The same enemies who mocked you in public suddenly watching you in private, scared to blink because they might miss the moment you finally take over. And before we keep going, do a small thing to pay this message back. Hit the like button and subscribe so this energy keeps spreading. Anyway, let's talk about the part nobody wants to admit out loud. The shift around you isn't random. It's the aftermath of a battle they didn't even know you were fighting. While they were busy underestimating you, you were out here choosing faith over fear in ways that made the universe pause. You were making decisions that didn't make sense to anyone except the version of you who refused to break. And that version, the one covered in doubt, bruised by reality, still standing anyway, is the one someone influential finally noticed. There's a certain silence that follows a storm, and you're standing right in it. It's that eerie, powerful calm where the air feels different, where even the people who dislike you can't deny something shifted. They won't say it, but their actions scream it. The energy in the room changes when a person who survived everything walks in. They don't know if they should greet you, avoid you, or pretend they didn't spend months waiting for you to fall. Their confusion is hilarious, honestly, and here's the part that hits harder than any insult they ever threw at you. Someone with real pull, real reach, real influence has been watching you longer than you think. Not the audience pretending they care, not the friends who only show up when things look pretty. Someone who actually matters. Someone who sees things the average person can't. They weren't paying attention to your highlights. They were studying the moments you thought nobody would ever understand. The late nights where you were breaking down but kept going. The mornings where you woke up tired but still made decisions aligned with the person you wanted to become. The days when fear told you to sit still, but your faith told you to move anyway. People love pretending they know strength, but the universe knows better. Strength isn't loud, cute, or flashy. Strength looks like you dragging yourself forward when every part of your life felt stuck. Strength is choosing hope when your past tried to choke you. Strength is holding your ground when people you trusted walked away and expected you to collapse. And that's exactly what someone influential saw. They weren't impressed, they were stunned. Because survival at your level isn't luck. It's rare character. Let me hit you with a fact they'll never say out loud. Human psychology proves that people trust the ones who stay calm in chaos more than the ones who only shine in good times. You thought your silent battles made you look weak, but to the right eyes, those moments exposed your real power. The universe is drawn to people like that. People who don't fold. People who don't flinch, people who don't let fear rewrite their story. Someone influential saw the way you held yourself when everything was falling apart. They saw the pressure you handled that wasn't meant for ordinary people. They saw the way you stayed aligned with the version of you that refuses to bow to fear. They saw the storms that should have erased you, and they saw you come out the other side with a look in your eyes that said, "Is that all?" And you know the craziest part. They've been waiting for someone like you, not someone perfect, someone seasoned, scarred, tested, someone whose strength wasn't built from comfort but carved from survival. You're the story they were searching for. You're the proof that quiet resilience is louder than fake confidence. So now everything is shifting, not because you begged for attention, not because you wanted recognition, but because the universe finally aligned your path with the eyes that could truly appreciate the war you fought to get here. Someone influential noticed you, chosen one, and they're not looking away. Before we move forward, chosen one, take a second. You're not here by accident. You didn't click this because you were bored. You're here because something in you recognizes the truth behind this shift. The moment you chose faith over fear, the universe shifted its attention toward you, and now someone influential has theirs locked on you too. If you feel that pull in your chest right now, that's not hype, that's alignment. So do your part in this alliance we're building. Hit the like button, subscribe, and drop number 777 in the comments to mark the moment you stopped hiding from your own power. Consider it your signature on this next chapter. And now, let's step into this properly. Stay with me, because if you're really one of the universe's chosen ones, you'll feel the gravity of what's coming. This isn't just information. It's the kind of truth that reshapes people from the inside. If you've made it this far, you already know something big is unfolding. So take a breath, lock in, and let's begin the next part of your awakening. Number 1. The frequency that exposed every fraud around you. Funny how they called you delusional, but now they're squinting at your glow like it's hurting their eyes. You want brutal? Fine. Here's the part that makes the enemy choke a little. They spent months calling you naive, unstable, unrealistic, too hopeful for your own good. They mocked the way you held your ground. They laughed at the decisions you made when fear tried to crush you. They thought your faith was weakness. They thought your silence meant defeat. They thought your patience was proof you were clueless. But here's the sick plot twist they never saw coming. Your faith wasn't invisible. It was a broadcast, a frequency, a signal so sharp that only the wise could detect its shape. And the ones who mocked you, they weren't wise enough to hear anything except their own noise. Your faith wasn't loud in the world's language, but it was thunder in the universe's. That's what irritates your enemies the most. They can't understand why you kept rising after every setback. They can't understand why you never surrendered to fear like they expected. And deep down, the thing that scares them most is the realization that you weren't guessing. You were aligned. They were operating from ego while you were operating from purpose. They were chasing attention while you were building strength. They were waiting for you to collapse while you were quietly leveling up. Let's cut deeper. People who live on surface-level nonsense will always misread a chosen one. They only understand chaos, so they mistake your calm for weakness. They only understand noise, so they assume your silence means confusion. They only understand fear, so they think your faith is delusion. But someone influential, someone whose mind is sharp enough to see the truth beneath the mask, picked up your frequency the way a seasoned hunter recognizes a real threat. They didn't discover you, they detected you. Big difference. And maybe you're wondering right now, why me? Why would someone powerful pay attention to someone who's been struggling, doubted, overlooked, underestimated? Here's why. Because the universe doesn't hide warriors in plain sight. It tests them in silence, and you passed tests that would have destroyed most people. You walked through pressure that wasn't meant for fragile souls. You held your ground when life tried to fold you. The influential one who noticed you didn't see your highlight moments. They saw your survival moments. They saw the nights where you were fighting a storm inside you, but still stood up the next morning. They saw the moments where you pushed forward, even when every logical thought told you to stop. They saw the person you become when nobody is clapping, nobody is validating, nobody is helping. That's the version of you that impressed them. Your consistency became your signature. Your resilience became your identity. Your refusal to bend became the proof they needed. That's the part your enemies can't handle. They did everything possible to distract you, drain you, discourage you. Yet, every attempt only refined your signal further. You became sharper the more they underestimated you. You became stronger the more they doubted you. And, ironically, the more they tried to break you, the more visible your frequency became to people who actually matter. Think about this for a second. The universe doesn't respond to noise. It responds to alignment. Noise attracts fools. Alignment attracts leaders. Noise pulls in drama. Alignment pulls in opportunities. While they were busy trying to bury you in chaos, your inner alignment turned you into a magnet without you even realizing it. Someone influential didn't approach you out of pity. They approached because they recognized a force in you that can't be manufactured, a kind of inner power only born through survival, humility, discipline, and quiet evolution. Your enemies hate this part the most. You never performed for attention. You never begged for validation. You never traded your authenticity for applause. And yet, you're the one being noticed. You're the one catching the eye of someone powerful. You're the one standing out without even trying. That's why your existence is offensive to them. They spent their whole lives screaming for attention. You whispered and got noticed by someone they'd sacrificed their reputation to impress. They built their identity around looking powerful. You built yours around becoming powerful. They chased influence. Influence came looking for you. And here's another truth your enemies will pretend they don't know. Faith is not soft. Faith is not passive. Faith is not cute. Faith is a weapon. It cuts through fear like steel. It reshapes the future. It commands the universe to shift. And when you chose faith over fear, you triggered a reaction that sent ripples far beyond your environment. Someone wise picked up the signal and followed it straight back to you. That's why they're watching now. That's why they're drawn to you like gravity. They know a person who can choose faith while being crushed by fear is a person capable of leading, transforming, and influencing worlds. Let's answer the final silent question you might be thinking. So what does this mean for me? What happens now? Why does this matter? It matters because this is the moment everything changes. When someone influential notices you, it's not because they want to help you, it's because they recognize that you carry something rare, something they want to be connected to, something they want to invest in, something they want beside them when big doors start opening. They see your potential the same way a strategist sees a hidden weapon. They don't just respect your journey, they respect your power. Your faith sent a signal. Your survival gave it shape. Your consistency gave it strength. Your enemies gave it clarity. And the universe made sure it reached exactly the mind it was meant for. You didn't get lucky. You got seen. And now, everything that tried to silence you is about to watch you rise. Number 2. The exam that exposed everyone and crowned you. Wild how they prayed for your downfall, only to end up studying your survival. Funny how they thought you were breaking, but the universe was grading you the whole time. They wanted to watch you fail, but all they saw was a masterclass in resilience. Your silence during pain was louder than their entire ego parade. You want the next section brutal, sharp, villain core, motivational, and dripping with power. Good, because this is the part of your story that makes the enemy flinch the hardest. This is where the truth gets uncomfortable for them and empowering for you. This is where we talk about the test you didn't know you were taking, the one everyone around you failed, while you somehow aced it with no study guide, no warning, no backup plan. Just you, standing in the middle of chaos with nothing but guts, endurance, and that quiet internal compass they never had. Imagine this. You're walking through your life, minding your business, trying to heal, trying to survive, trying to give the universe one more reason not to break you. You think everything around you is random, the betrayals, the loneliness, the dead silence from people who swore they cared, the nights that felt like you were being emotionally mugged by reality itself. You thought it was just a bad season. You thought it was life being cruel again. You didn't realize that every moment was being recorded like evidence. Every reaction was being measured. Every choice you made while bleeding was being counted. You didn't know the universe had eyes on you. You didn't know someone influential had eyes on you. You didn't know your endurance was being examined the way diamonds are tested under pressure. Here's the truth no one told you. Life didn't warn you about the test, because real strength doesn't come from preparation. It comes from instinct. Anyone can be good when life is soft, safe, comfortable. But when everything falls apart, when you're left alone with your thoughts, when fear is trying to choke the courage out of you, that's when your real character steps forward. That's when the universe pulls out the microscope and watches who you become. And while the enemy was laughing at you, someone influential was watching you. This test wasn't about perfection. It was about pattern. Imagine this, a camera focused on you, not during your victories, but during your breakdowns. Not when you felt strong, but when you were shaking. Not when you were celebrated, but when you were humiliated, disappointed, betrayed. And every time the camera expected you to quit, you didn't. Every time life expected you to collapse, you took one more step. Every time fear expected to win, you moved anyway. That's what impressed the powerful one, not your confidence, not your smiles, not your applause moments, your survival moments. Those were the real answers to the test, and you passed, without even realizing you were being examined. Let's break it down the villain way. You were sitting in what you thought was chaos. Someone influential was watching your discipline. You were dealing with betrayal. Someone influential was watching your emotional intelligence. You were fighting invisible battles alone. Someone influential was watching your spiritual stamina. You were resisting bitterness when bitterness was the easy route. Someone influential was watching your maturity. You were choosing patience over revenge. Someone influential was watching your self-control. You were staying true to values others abandoned long ago. Someone influential was watching your integrity. This wasn't a test you studied for. This was a test designed to expose who you really are. And you didn't just pass. You dominated. Here's what's messing with your enemy's head right now. They thought the test was for your destruction, not your elevation. They didn't realize they were background noise in a documentary about your evolution. They didn't realize their betrayal was actually the pressure needed to show the universe what you're made of. They didn't want you to grow, but their actions became the catalyst anyway. Imagine this next example. Two people walk into the same storm. One falls apart within minutes, screaming, complaining, blaming everybody. The other walks through with steady steps, breathing heavy but moving anyway. Guess who the universe crowns? Guess who the influential one respects? Guess who ends up chosen? The one who didn't flinch. You didn't know someone powerful was watching how you handled storms that weren't meant for ordinary people, but they were. They saw the way your spirit refused to collapse, even when your world did. They saw the self-control you showed when you could have chosen rage. They saw your restraint when you could have sabotaged everything. They saw the way you held your values, even while your heart cracked. And maybe you're asking yourself right now, why would anyone powerful care about my suffering? What difference does my endurance make? Why would my struggle matter to someone who has influence, resources, success? Here's why. Because powerful people don't respect comfort-made individuals. They respect storm-made individuals. Someone influential saw what you are, a person who can be trusted with responsibility, a person who doesn't crumble at pressure, a person who stays aligned even when afraid, a person whose instincts are sharper than most people's plans, a person built from survival, discipline, and quiet fire. They saw someone who could handle weight, responsibility, influence, elevation, legacy. You didn't know the test was happening, but they did. You were proving readiness without even knowing you were being evaluated. Imagine another metaphor, a blacksmith placing raw metal into fire. The metal doesn't know the fire isn't punishment. The fire is the test. The heat is the teacher. The pressure is the sculptor. And only the strongest material survives the shaping. You weren't being destroyed. You were being forged. And the powerful one watching you, they recognize the glow of someone who has survived more than others can imagine. They recognize the discipline of someone who doesn't fold. They recognize the grit of someone ready for more. Your responses, the patience, the faith, the calm, the integrity, were your high score. While others were busy performing for attention, you were showing real strength without knowing anyone was watching. Your enemies were giving chaos. You were giving character, and someone influential saw it. Not because you begged to be seen, but because the universe put a spotlight on you the moment you chose faith over fear. Your endurance revealed your identity. Your calm revealed your capacity. Your patience revealed your readiness. Your faith revealed your destiny. Now, here's the twist they'll never admit. This wasn't just a test. This was a doorway disguised as difficulty, a promotion disguised as suffering, a calling disguised as chaos. You didn't pass because you knew the answers. You passed because you became the answer. Your enemies expected you to drown. You swam. They expected you to snap. You adapted. They expected you to collapse. You evolved. And now someone influential is ready to honor what your endurance revealed. Not out of pity, not out of charity, but out of respect. Real, earned, undeniable respect. You passed a test you didn't know you were taking, and now doors you don't even know exist are preparing to open for you. Number 3. The pressure that revealed who was real and who was just noise. Nothing exposes people faster than your survival. Here's the part that makes your enemies twitch. Your resilience didn't just save you, it revealed them. It showed exactly who was solid, who was fake, who was secretly rooting for your downfall, and who was quietly praying you'd make it. That kind of clarity burns through people like acid, and trust me, they felt it. When you refused to break, everyone around you got exposed without you even trying. Imagine this. 2 people standing beside you while your world is collapsing. One's face twists with annoyance because your pain doesn't entertain them anymore. The other steps closer, not saying much, just refusing to let you drown. Your resilience became the mirror they couldn't hide from. That's why someone influential took notice. Not because you were loud, but because your strength revealed truths most people pretend not to see. Here's the fact they'll never admit. Powerful people don't follow noise. They follow consistency. They watch who stays steady when the pressure gets ugly. While the spiritually blind mocked your struggle, the spiritually elite, the ones with depth, vision, and actual wisdom, recognized your endurance as proof of inner power. They saw through the fake confidence others were performing. They saw the difference between people who only look brave and people who actually are. Maybe you're wondering, why did my resilience matter so much? Why did it attract the attention of someone who holds real influence? Because survival with humility is rare. Strength without ego is rare. Wisdom born from pain is rare. You didn't just walk through storms. You came out sharper, calmer, and more focused. That kind of growth is a signal only the wise can detect. Your resilience didn't just elevate you. It exposed the weak. It revealed the genuine. And it drew the powerful straight to you. Number 4. The quiet choice that shook rooms you've never entered. Wild how your silence traveled farther than their loudest attempts to destroy you. This is the part they'll never forgive you for. Every time you chose trust over fear, you sent out a shockwave, a ripple that moved through places, people, and situations far beyond your sight. You thought you were just trying to survive another day. But someone influential felt the tremor of your choices long before they ever knew your face. That's what scares the enemy most. Your impact wasn't loud, but it was undeniable. Imagine tossing a tiny pebble into a still lake. You expect a small ripple, maybe two. Instead, the whole surface shifts. That's what your faith did. Every choice you made in private pushed through the unseen, touching minds, shifting atmospheres, waking up people with depth while exposing people with shallow spirits. Someone powerful felt that pull. They sensed your discipline, your steadiness, your refusal to break. They sensed a force they couldn't ignore. Here's a fact most people don't understand. Real influence isn't built by shouting. It's built by alignment. People who hold real power can feel when someone is rooted, balanced, and unshaken. While the crowd was watching your struggle like cheap entertainment, someone with actual discernment recognized your consistency as strength, not naivety. Maybe a question is hitting you now. How could my small decisions reach someone so far above my world? Why would they feel anything from me? Because real strength is energetic. It vibrates. It carries. When you refused to collapse under pressure, that frequency got louder. When you kept moving without begging for applause, that authenticity made you unforgettable. You didn't chase validation. You didn't perform. You didn't crumble. And that's exactly why someone influential felt your presence long before you stepped onto their radar. Your faith moved farther and faster than fear ever could. Number 5. The discipline you hid in the dark just lit up your entire future. Funny how they bragged about shortcuts, while your quiet discipline is the reason you're passing them now. Here's the truth that stings your enemies harder than anything else. Everything you did when nobody was watching is the very thing pushing you into rooms you once thought were unreachable. While they were busy performing for attention, you were building a backbone. While they were chasing applause, you were building foundations. While they chose the easy way out, you stayed disciplined in silence. And that silence turned into the loudest power move of your life. Imagine this. 2 people standing at the base of a mountain. One is bragging loudly, taking photos, acting like they're already at the top. The other, you, is adjusting their gear quietly, checking their footing, studying the path. making sure everything is aligned before taking the first step. Guess who reaches the peak first? Guess who survives the climb? Guess who ends up admired by climbers who've conquered greater heights? The one who prepared when no one cared. Your private discipline was never pointless. Every time you chose the harder choice, the honest path, the consistent routine, the long-term gain over the short-term thrill, the universe took note. Someone influential took note. They noticed the integrity you kept when cutting corners would have been easier. They noticed the way you held yourself to a standard, even when no one was there to praise you. They noticed the quiet strength of someone who doesn't cheat their way into success. Maybe you're asking yourself, how can something so private lead to something so public? How can decisions nobody saw unlock opportunities everyone will see? Because discipline is a seed. It grows underground before it ever breaks the surface. Your sacrifices created stability. Your integrity created momentum. Your consistency formed a blueprint even you didn't realize you were building. Now that blueprint is turning into blessings, real ones, visible ones, undeniable ones. You didn't hustle for spotlight. You didn't beg for recognition. You didn't fake strength for attention. And that's exactly why your public rise is about to hit so much harder. The world is about to witness the rewards that were formed in silence, molded through discipline, carved through self-control, and strengthened by every private choice you made when no one thought it mattered. Number 6. The fire that was supposed to break you turned you into a weapon. They wanted to watch you burn. They just didn't expect you to walk out of the flames upgraded. Here's the part that hits your enemies right in the ego. Pressure didn't crush you, it evolved you. Every time life tightened its grip, you didn't fold like they predicted. You shifted, you sharpened, you transformed. And that transformation wasn't subtle. It was the kind of shift even someone influential couldn't ignore. Imagine this. 2 people thrown into the same fire. One screams, panics, and melts. The other stands still, eyes focused, breathing through the heat like it's training. That second person was you. You didn't run from adversity, you let it shape you. You didn't abandon your mission, you upgraded the strategy. You didn't use fear as an excuse, you used it as data. That kind of internal alchemy is rare, and people with real power recognize it instantly. Here's a fact most people can't handle. Pressure exposes what you're really made of. Foam collapses, metal bends, steel strengthens. You showed the universe your steel. That's why your evolution pulled in the attention of someone powerful. Someone who knows leaders aren't born in comfort. They're built in crisis. Maybe you're wondering, why does my transformation matter? Why would someone influential care about my growth? Because transformation under pressure is the mark of someone who can handle responsibility. They saw you pivot mentally instead of collapsing emotionally. They witnessed you use adversity as fuel instead of letting it turn you into a victim. They saw you refine instead of explode. Anyone can look strong when life is easy, but you looked unshakable when life was vicious. You didn't survive pressure, you mastered it. You didn't escape the storm, you became the storm. And that evolution is exactly why you're being trusted with bigger doors, bigger rooms, and bigger destinies. Number 7. The purpose they tried to imitate, but could never recreate. They copied your style, your words, your moves, but the one thing they could never steal was your calling. This is where your enemies really start choking, because nothing exposes a fraud faster than the presence of someone authentic. They talked like they were chosen. They acted like they were important. They performed confidence like it was theater. But your strength, your identity, your path, it wasn't performance, it wasn't hype, it wasn't some inflated ego trip. It was earned, it was carved, it was built through survival, pain, discipline, and the kind of inner alignment the universe doesn't hand out to just anyone. Imagine this, a room full of people pretending to glow, flexing with borrowed light, showcasing confidence they stitched together from other people's validation. Then you walk in, the real thing, carrying a fire that wasn't bought, borrowed, or faked. A fire forged through battles they never had to fight. Suddenly, the room feels different. The pretenders get quiet, the imitators shrink, because the truth is simple: real power can't be counterfeited. Your faith revealed a calling that no actor can mimic, no jealous heart can duplicate, and no enemy can sabotage. Someone influential saw that difference immediately. They didn't see luck, they didn't see hype, they didn't see a trend. They saw purpose, they saw alignment. They saw a person who didn't just fit a mold. You shattered the mold and built your own blueprint. Maybe you're wondering, why did my calling stand out? Why would someone powerful even care? Because people with real vision can spot what's genuine within seconds. They can feel when a person's confidence is born from endurance rather than ego. They know when someone's path isn't artificial. They know when the universe is backing someone. They saw that your power wasn't for show, it was real. They saw that your journey wasn't crafted, it was lived. They saw that your calling wasn't claimed, it was proven. And that's why you're being rewarded. The universe doesn't elevate copies, it elevates originals like you. Number 8. The grave. They dug for you, became your launch pad. They waited for your collapse, but you walked out of the wreckage like it was your training ground. Let's hit this hard. The places you survived weren't just difficult, they were the kind of emotional war zones most people never crawl out of. You didn't just go through heartbreak, you went through heartbreak that rewired your soul. You didn't just face betrayal, you faced betrayals designed to break your identity. You didn't just suffer loss, you suffered the kind that makes people disappear into their own shadows. And yet here you are, not crawling, not limping, but rising. Rising in a way that terrifies everyone who counted you out. Imagine this, a person trapped under emotional debris that should have crushed them forever. Except instead of dying there, they start pushing the rubble off piece by piece, emerging like someone built for storms. That was you. You rose from places that swallow people whole. You walked out of situations that turn hearts cold. You survived experiences that force most people into bitterness, numbness, or self-destruction. But you didn't rot. You didn't break. You didn't turn dark. You turned wise, you turned precise, you turned intentional. Someone influential noticed that. They recognized pain-born strength, not fake confidence. They saw resilience that wasn't crafted from comfort, but carved from catastrophe. They saw a person who walked through emotional fire and somehow came out warm-hearted, not burnt out. And that kind of survival, it's rare, it's powerful, it's unforgettable. Maybe you're thinking, why does my survival matter so much? Why would someone powerful care about my pain? Because survival at your level reveals a truth most people don't want to face. You're built differently. You rise where others collapse. You evolve where others detour. You heal where others harden. You turned pain into wisdom instead of armor. You turned heartbreak into clarity instead of resentment. You turned disaster into direction instead of defeat. And that's why your story stands out. The universe kept you standing when everything else tried to bury you, and that's exactly what the influential one saw. Number 9. The moment your enemies tripped over their own lies. They didn't realize you didn't have to expose them. Their behavior did the job for you. Here's where it gets deliciously uncomfortable for the people who plotted against you. Your faith didn't just protect you, it exposed every hidden enemy who thought they could play in your face and get away with it. Every snake revealed itself. Every mask slipped. Every fake smile cracked. And the funniest part? You didn't have to scream, fight, defend, or prove anything. Your calm did all the heavy lifting. Imagine standing in the center of a room while everyone around you thinks they're smarter than you. They whisper, they scheme, they manipulate, convinced you don't see a thing. But then the universe turns the lights on, and suddenly every shadow becomes visible. Every move they made in secret starts unraveling. Every person who thought they could play you ends up exposing themselves with their own hands. That was your life for a while. You didn't chase truth. Truth ran toward you. Someone influential noticed that pattern. They watched how you stayed silent when people poked at your name. They saw how you chose peace instead of pettiness. They saw how you stayed steady while others panicked under their own guilt. They saw that your lack of retaliation wasn't weakness, it was strategy, discipline, and emotional intelligence. Maybe you're wondering, why did my peace trigger so much exposure? Why did people fall apart the moment I stopped reacting? Because your faith created a pressure they couldn't survive. When a person is built on lies, your consistency feels like interrogation. When a person's intentions are dirty, your silence feels like judgment. When someone is hiding something, your calm presence feels like a spotlight. Your endurance became evidence. Your patience became proof. You became the mirror that forced people to reveal who they truly were. Touching you, even socially, emotionally, or politically, became dangerous because every move against you backfired publicly. And that's exactly what someone powerful saw. A person who exposes enemies simply by standing still. A person whose peace dismantles plots. A person who doesn't need revenge. Truth fights for them. Your faith didn't just protect you. It revealed the snakes that thought they could slither in your shadows. Number 10. The quiet power that made the loud ones look weak. They flexed their fake bravery while your silence shook the whole room. Here's the punch that hits them right in the pride. Your fearlessness never needed noise. You didn't bark, brag, or overplay your hand like the insecure ones around you. You moved with precision, the kind of calm that exposes everyone who only knows how to look strong, not be strong. While they were panicking, spiraling, and creating chaos for attention, you were studying the angles, tracking the patterns, and making moves that didn't need applause to matter. Imagine this. The world is losing its mind. People running in circles, shouting their fears into the air like it'll save them. And there you are, standing still, eyes steady, breathing slow, seeing everything clearly. That kind of quiet control is terrifying to people who rely on noise to feel powerful. It's even more terrifying to those who wanted to see you fold. Someone in authority, someone who doesn't waste time on pretenders, saw that restraint. They recognized the discipline in the way you handled pressure without letting your emotions sabotage you. They watched you choose timing over tantrums. They saw you think before reacting, move before announcing, and act without seeking validation. And in high places, that kind of discipline speaks louder than the loudest confidence. Maybe a question hits you now. Why would my silence matter? Why would someone powerful care about subtle fearlessness? Because quiet fearlessness is the real kind. The kind that wins wars without theatrics. The kind that leaders possess before anyone knows they're leaders. You didn't just avoid fear, you mastered it. You didn't just stay calm, you controlled the battlefield inside you. You weren't loud, you were dangerous. And that's why they see you now, not as a survivor, but as a leader hiding in plain sight. Number 11. The moment they realized you can't be bought or begged into greatness. They play for the crowd. You play for the universe. That's why they fear you. Here's the part that bruises your enemies' egos the most. You don't breathe for validation like they do. You don't need an audience to move. You don't need applause to act. You don't need approval to become who you were meant to be. While they were busy chasing clout like it was oxygen, you were chasing purpose, quietly, consistently, and with a level of discipline that exposed how hollow their intentions really were. Imagine this: a hallway full of people fighting for attention, waving their hands, raising their voices, desperate to be seen. Then there's you, walking straight through, focused, unfazed, not even checking who's watching. That's the kind of presence that makes powerful people look twice. Not because you're loud, but because you're intentional. Someone influential saw that in you. They noticed your moves weren't reactive, they were aligned. Your growth wasn't a performance, it was evolution. Your choices weren't for show, they were for destiny. Maybe you're asking yourself, why does not seeking validation matter so much? Why would someone powerful care that I don't chase approval? Because the people who chase applause collapse the moment the crowd gets silent. But you move with or without cheering. You build whether people notice or not. You grow without begging for recognition. That makes you dangerous in the best way possible, unpredictable, unmanipulatable, and unstoppable. Your discipline is magnetic, your focus is rare, your purpose is louder than their popularity. That's why someone influential trusts you with legacy-level opportunities. They know your actions aren't about being seen, they're about making impact that echoes long after the noise dies. Number 12. The calm that turned every mask into dust. They thought your grace made you blind, but it made them visible. Here's the truth that keeps your enemies awake at night. Your faith didn't just carry you, it exposed every person who pretended to stand beside you. The moment you chose grace instead of bitterness, every fake friend, every jealous heart, every opportunist trying to use your light for their own gain got revealed without you lifting a finger. Your peace became a spotlight. Your patience became a detector. Your dignity became a weapon sharper than anything they threw at you. Imagine this. A storm hits and everyone around you scrambles. Some people run, some blame you, some pretend to help while secretly hoping you fall. Meanwhile, you stand still, not frozen, just focused. That stillness forces every true intention in the room to surface. Suddenly, the loyal ones step closer, while the frauds step back, exposed by their own discomfort. That's exactly what happened in your life. You didn't chase truth. Your energy pulled it out of people. Someone influential noticed that. They saw how you never retaliated, even when you were provoked. They noticed how you stayed grounded while others acted chaotic. They recognized that your stability wasn't silence, it was mastery. They saw maturity where others only saw vulnerability, and in powerful spaces, that kind of composure is rare. Maybe you're wondering, why did my peace matter so much? Why would someone with authority care about how I handled betrayal? Because the way you respond under pressure reveals who you truly are. Opportunists panic. Jealous people act out. Insecure people get loud. But you stayed dignified. That's not weakness. That's control. That's wisdom. That's emotional precision. Your stillness separated the loyal from the leeches. Your grace exposed intentions that words could never hide. Your peace proved you operate from purpose, not insecurity. And that's exactly why someone powerful decided you're ready. You didn't demand revenge. You didn't beg for clarity. You didn't crumble into bitterness. You let truth reveal itself, and that level of maturity is why your reward is already on its way. Number 13. The darkness that failed to turn you into one of its own. They threw their shadows at you, but you kept shining anyway. Here's the part that slices your enemies the deepest. You walked through darkness that should have swallowed you whole, yet you refused to become anything like what tried to break you. You faced cruelty without becoming cruel. You faced liars without becoming deceptive. You faced people who weaponized your kindness, yet you never lost it. That kind of integrity isn't normal. It's rare, unsettling, and powerful in ways the weak will never understand. Imagine this. You're walking through a tunnel so pitch black that even your thoughts echo differently. Most people lose themselves in that kind of place. They adapt to the environment. They become what hurt them. They let the darkness rewrite their character. But you kept your internal flame lit the entire time, even when pain tried to blow it out. Your compassion didn't die. Your honesty didn't bend. Your heart didn't sour. That's the kind of strength people can't fake. Someone influential saw that. Not the smile you forced on the outside, but the integrity you protected on the inside. They noticed how you never retaliated with the same weapons used against you. They admired how you stayed human in situations designed to turn you cold. They recognized the difference between people who stay good because life is easy, and people who stay good while walking through hell. Maybe you're asking yourself, why does it matter that I stayed compassionate? Why would someone powerful care that I didn't harden like everyone else? Because real leaders don't lose their humanity in the dark. They carry it through the dark. People with depth know that power without integrity is useless. Influence without compassion is destructive. Strength without heart is dangerous. You didn't let pain rewrite your character. You didn't let betrayal corrupt your spirit. You didn't let cruelty convert you. You became the one thing darkness can't imitate: numb, authentic light. Light born from survival, not innocence. Light earned, not inherited. And that light is exactly why someone influential respects you now. You didn't just outlast the darkness, you outshined it. Number 14. The moment they realized you're built for power, not pity. They prayed you'd collapse under pressure, but you turned pressure into qualifications. Let's hit this like a hammer. You're not standing here because you got lucky or because life finally decided to be nice. You're standing here because you earned it. While everyone else demanded blessings without putting in the work, you were being shaped by seasons that stretched you, humbled you, refined you, and forced you to grow in ways the average person avoids. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared, and someone influential finally recognized that preparation for what it is: readiness. Imagine this: two people standing at a locked door. One is begging to be let in, banging on it, whining about timing, complaining about obstacles. The other, you, is quietly gathering tools, learning the structure, strengthening their hands, and preparing for the wait on the other side. Guess which one the universe trusts. Guess which one the influential eyes choose. The one who shows they can hold what they're asking for. Someone powerful saw that in you. They saw that your blessings aren't random, they're earned. They saw that your patience wasn't weakness, it was strategy. They saw that your humility wasn't timidity, it was self-control. They saw that your discipline wasn't rigid, it was responsibility training. Maybe the question hits you, why does readiness matter so much? Why would someone influential care about my preparation? Because blessings without maturity collapse. Influence without character corrupts. Power without clarity destroys. You didn't rush your process. You didn't chase shortcuts. You didn't crumble when things took longer than you wanted. You developed endurance. You developed authority. You developed the kind of moral clarity that makes powerful people pay attention. Most people survive life. You studied it. You extracted lessons. You grew sharper. You grew wiser. You stopped being reactive and started being intentional. Now your endurance has matured into something rare. Responsibility. Not the watered-down version people brag about, the real kind. The kind leaders carry, the kind that shapes legacies, the kind that requires backbone, vision, and restraint. Someone influential sees it clearly. You're not just ready for blessings, that's too small. You're ready for weight, for influence, for impact, for rooms where decisions matter, for spaces where your voice shifts outcomes. You're not stepping into destiny clueless or fragile. You're stepping into it with wisdom earned in silence and authority built under pressure. You're not hoping for your moment anymore. You are the moment. And here comes the part where everything we uncovered tightens into one sharp truth. You didn't rise by accident. You rose because you were built for this. Every test, every betrayal, every quiet act of discipline shaped you into someone impossible to ignore. And now the universe is responding. Before you go, chosen one, pay this message back. Hit that like button, subscribe, drop 77 in the comments, and share this with someone who needs to remember their own strength. Your story isn't ending. It's finally beginning.